My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft.
All right, ongoing criminal monitoring, which is occurring. It is currently July 27, 2025, and it's 12:18 a.m. And the pattern of conduct is ceaselessly underway. In conformity to the pattern of conduct, you've got a stalker pulling up at this hour based on stalking in the path with light. That's called stalking with activity, the same way that they are with housekeeping, crossing path with rumbling noise inside of the hotel room while you are outside crossing path under the fake sun and an engineered light. It's the P.O.C. That's light activity and criminal presence. That's license 8ZBL511. That is monitoring me as an entity in the environment pursuant to public knowledge about everything I'm doing inside of my hotel room, including that which is concerning my vagina. This is a sex offender license 8ZBL511, engaged in federal stalking under Title 18, doing so with management. Remember, management's license plates, they're subject to federal prison, and they are likely gang stalking immigrants as well in the United States to engaging in criminal surveillance. License EE94Z99, that's the paper plate. License KKB99, gang stalking with another demon at the entrance, stalking in the path. You'll see that I'm capturing images in real time of the demon-possessed psychopaths who are stalking with light as you see them molesting with impossible light activity. You see the psychopaths stalking in helicopters. You see them engaging in the P.O.C, stalking with sensational activity like the gang stalking immigrant pushing the housekeeping cart, and that's somehow creating an earthquake. These are the demons that are mentally ill while they share in that criminal pattern of conduct. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that as one. And I'll show you the light activity where they're going to the windows, engaging in criminal conduct relevant to the federal RICO case of the establishment that's gang stalking me, Economy N. All right, they're in engineered light. This sex offender is engaging in what is transactions with Economy N. That's licensed with a ripped up paper plate. Okay, and engineered light, stalking in the path with light. The city of Ontario is relying on sex offenders like this to engage in crossing the path, stalking. License DA92F19, that's a paper plate. And I'll show you my shadows that are in front of me while this sex offender is engaged in gang stalking. All right, and the entity's activity creation includes what is ongoing rumbling noise inside of the hotel room. The entity is engaging in this while the demons are housekeeping all day long, taking over 8 hours to engage in cleaning rooms that they're not clean. Okay, so they're engaging in surveillance, gang stalking me, while they are maintaining ongoing roarous, thunderous, audible activity and sensational activity. The entity is maintaining that same audible noise in the depths of the hotel room pursuant to monitoring. So I'm capturing all the stalkers that are at the venue, and as I step out, demons are already engaged in surveillance for purposes of making sure they block my path with presence in engineered light. This is cockroach behavior. This is sex offender conduct. This is criminal activity by the business and also by people who are stalking. Okay, a hardcore stalking is what I'm documenting. At MOBIL at 2315, they're gang stalking through the homeless population of demons in the same exact engineered environment. The paper plate that I read is stalking on the opposite side of the Economy N. Her license, another license is DEO7Y05. That's a paper plate at Economy 3UUU144 at MOBIL at MOBIL at 2315 South Euclid Avenue, and the entity is also gang stalking. And this is the massive amount of people. This is just an example of what I'm capturing right here at the venue. Thousands of people, and as you're going through hours in the day, millions of people sharing in criminal surveillance together. And they're also doing so while I am documenting millions of people. License 9GSV791, because while I document Economy N, I'm prosecuting the entire state of California. So remember that. The entity is gang stalking through demons that are maintaining criminal presence at the brick wall. While you're listening to the ignition start and turn off, that demon is monitoring with audible activity. Gang stalking at the mobile gas pump. Doing so while I'm documenting their license plate is sharing in that pattern of conduct together. It is currently, by the way, where I'm capturing both the specific environment. It's 12:22 a.m. And these demons are monitoring while I'm inside of my hotel room, engaging in ongoing harassment as an entity, maintaining inexplicable roaring noise, like rumbling noise, like something's rumbling through the walls or something. That's audible activity, okay, surrounding you with all methods of noise. This is inherently torturous conduct, and it's also harassment that you're going to prosecute the business for. You're going to prosecute the employees of that business. You're going to prosecute the gang stalking patrons who are all engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, and they're all demons as well. This is demonic activity that the state of California engages in with the civilian population. It is public corruption. All right, license. The same plates, some of them the same plates, but I'm going to document WLZ 2831, that's Texas, 8 WSC 303, 8 CSA 691. License, I read that paper plate, wrote that one. 3 TBG 137 90 TM 779, the Arizona plate CWDO 228. License 9GQT 881, 5 AMV 693. License 8BMK 973. And license parked in front of rooms 110, 111, 112. The entity is maintaining ongoing amplified noise inside of my room. Okay, I just want to be clear, like I stated, room 109, room 1010 to the east and west, and room 108. None of these rooms are going to cause any sort of sensational activity under my feet, like closing and opening the door is not going to cause an earthquake in my room. This is sensational activity while stalkers remain in those hotel rooms. That's called relevant positioning. All right, when you're looking at a blueprint and you look at rooms, this is the same structure with a jail where the entity is gang stalking, and any sort of facility where you have multiple floors, and an apartment building where you have multiple floors, and a business building, you're looking at the same sort of structure. There are demons inside of every room maintaining criminal presence while ongoing noise and engineered light is present. And I'm also breaking down what is the lack of logic and lack of natural conduct occurring while you're being stalked with noise and being stalked with light, pursuant to monitoring by obsessed demons who are violent sex offenders. They also salivate over your genitalia, okay? They are sex offenders that engage in the pattern of conduct with children, like you saw the people say doing today. This demon 8ZBL511 is pacing in the parking lot. She's doing so while you have multiple shadows. That's a demon that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. I'm capturing images of that. You'll see my shadow in the shade of the vehicle while she is stalking in the path. Doing so, again, the federal RICO case is that economy N is gang stalking with those that are on the grounds engaging in criminal activity. License 5XGN491, 9EXC937, 9SPD246, and I'm standing outside and there is nothing that's creating any sort of rumbling noises. You already know that LND WAPNER is gang stalking. You already know that he's engaged in surveillance because of the plane activity. In conformity to the pattern of conduct, but I want to be clear, the plane activity is something that is requiring amplified audible activity. The entity is engaging in what is like you're landing on the roof with regard to the level of audible activity that the entity is coexisting, the audible activity that coexists with the stalker in a commercial plane flying over me, okay, stalking in the sky space. That's amplified audible activity, it's demonic. Okay, the demons that are stalking with these, you need to understand that you purchase airline tickets from the demon possessed that have exercise over literally your life while you are trusting them with your life, and you pay tickets for demons who are psychopaths to fly you from destinations. And these are demons that are engaging in demonic activity right in front of your face while I show you gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport and by demons like the Ontario Police Department. They're engaging in demonic activity. The noise regarding the activity that I'm showing you that they're physically engaging in are two separate components of gang stalking, which is demonic. All right, this is relevant to demon possession. Demon possessed people flying commercial planes, that's a national security threat. That's why they're gang stalking as well, by the way. GW08HV Texas, 23103U1, 8EDV437, C14NWR4. That is a Baja California, Mexico plate, and license 9SYE890 in custody of minor children, gang stalking like you saw in video under the fake sun. All right, the people of the state are coming in to check into rooms as I walk outside as a means of maintaining the elements of monitoring. The demons who are the people of the state are already in their vehicles stalking in the path. They're at the gas pumps of MOBIL at 2315 South Euclid Avenue as a means of stalking in the path, maintaining light activity. The demons are engaging in what are business transactions with corrupt businesses as a means of what is the racketeering. That's the federal case against the federal RICO case against the people of the state that are gang stalking as a means of maintaining the criminal elements of monitoring on behalf of a corrupt government. It is public corruption. You're not going to hold on to any profits retained from federal group stalking and monitoring. You're also going to be criminally prosecuted as a means of damages, and then also a civil case which is relevant to damages, because this is how you're going to criminally prosecute and disincentivize federal group stalking and monitoring, which is relying upon the provision of profits while you're engaging in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. So understand, with regard to prosecuting the state of California, damages are not only going to be based on a civil case, it's based on the criminal case against establishments like Marriott Bonvoy gang stalking me on this day and yesterday and the day before that while I've moved from Alvarado Gardens to Marriott Bonvoy's Town Place Suites by Marriott in Monrovia, California, okay? The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct while they are engaging in the P.O.C. at Economy Inn where the fake sun is rising and setting, and then there is an outright abandonment of there ever being any natural environment in Monrovia where the entity keeps the fake sun over that hotel, and the city of Monrovia is engaging in criminal summoning like I'm documenting on video all day long while the fake sun sits over that hotel. Understanding what every city is engaging in, this is what the demons of the city of Ontario are very fully and thoroughly documented, engaging in criminal summoning, and that's the entity that's going to be removed from the positions that they currently hold. Gang stalking. I just want to show you what is surveillance right here. And the plane activity is over the building. I'm capturing video. That's the Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter. And this is flying over me while the city of Ontario is gang stalking through the Ontario Police Department, and by flying over I'm capturing video right now, and by flying over the hotel, which you can hear. The 2301 South Euclid Avenue, there's no planes arriving and departing. You've already gone through that legal analysis. You're looking at the Ontario Police Department gang stalking me over here, west of the hotel. These are the demons, these are the idiots that are going to be removed from position. Mike Lorenz is going to be removed from position. He's keeping me under surveillance. He's also a sex offender obsessed with my vagina, while the entity is maintaining helicopter activity while I'm being gang stalked and terrorized with the use of commercial plane activity. Okay, there's no planes that you're ever going to hear over this hotel, far from any terminals where arrivals and departures are going to be heard over this address. This is where the entity is stalking by helicopter. That's criminal presence aerial surveillance while they break apart the means of audible activity, the sound of the plane activity, while the entity is engaging in what is, again, stalking by the Ontario International Airport, which is flying directly over the hotel, and then you're supposed to be under the impression that the Ontario Police Department is not gang stalking, but you know better than that. When you see the L&D WAPNER gang stalking with commercial planes, Mike LORENZ is gang stalking. The entire Ontario Police Department is engaging in that pattern of conduct. That is also the case when you're going out of your way to engage in things such as stalking with light, which is what you see here with the perpendicular shadows. This is where Economy Inn is engaged in racketeering. This is where you're looking at the elements of monitoring. These are sex offenders that know what's going on with my vagina inside of my hotel room as well. In the engineered light, the City of Ontario gang stalking over the hotel with planes flying in relevant position while I'm being surrounded with amplified audible activity in impossible light, and the Ontario Police are stalking in the path as well, and this is criminal facilitation by the people in the parking lot aiming light. This is psychopathic behavior. Okay, the way that you see this during the day is a demon driving under the fake sun and engineer light flying across the building. This is a demon stalking in the path and engineer light stalking with light in the same manner, in another iteration of the same pattern. And they're doing so with the co-defendant that is stalking in the path by helicopter. That's what I'm capturing, and this is what you're going to pay attention to. These are the demons that flew over the hotel for 10 minutes on video, and you know exactly who they're stalking. It is myself, and you know who they're stalking as well, the people of the state. Walking in the engineered light, they have multiple shadows. It's still light activity, and mental illness is clearly exhibited while the demon-possessed engage in what I'm exposing as a fully comprehensive and entirely idiotic and obvious criminal pattern of conduct of gang stalking. Demons stalking with light, demon stalking as an entity. The demons that are engaged in kidnapping on September 25th, 2020 with this Ontario Police Department, they're going to federal prison, okay? That's what this light activity, that's what this criminal pattern of conduct, that's what this federal RICO case against the corrupt businesses in California are going to inevitably result in. And Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. Demons that engaged in defaming my character while gang stalking like the sex offenders at Economy Inn and the sex offenders of the City of Ontario are engaging in. Okay, that's P.O.C. This is ongoing pacing in the specific environment while the people of the state are doing their job, pacing around in engineered light, maintaining a harassing environment inside of my hotel room, monitoring every move, monitoring on the venue of the internet, and doing so while they are obsessed with my vagina. This is the evidence of a bunch of demons whose name I don't have to know to prove their sexual obsession with me, which is relevant to their severe mental illness, gang stalking me as an entire government operation. This is also relevant to what's inherently harassing, and the federal RICO case is relevant to the people of the state as well. While I document the government, which is exactly what this is, I'm documenting the government while the people of the state are engaging in the P.O.C. This is my shadow in front of me on this wall. That's the City of Ontario gang stalking, and that's the City of Ontario where there's no terminals ever, where you're going to be flying over this room. The entity is engaging when it's maintaining this light activity. I want you to see my shadow over here. This is the same light activity that you're seeing at the Ford Professional Building, where the City of Ontario and the Ontario International Airport are also the same corrupt entity, gang stalking, and this is the shadow of the gate on the wall. Okay, there's no light fixture that's going to cause the shadow of the wall. In fact, let me show you this. This is a wall structure right here. This is my shadow. That's supposedly the result of that. It's impossible light activity, nonetheless, but you're looking at the shadow of the gate appearing on this wall. This is the same light activity when all of these demons in all 45 rooms of this venue are gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department that's flying in circles. That's the federal RICO case against the gang stalkers, the Economy Inn. That's the racketeering. It's federal stalking under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsection 1 and 2. They're engaged in an unlawful search with the government that has no warrant or probable cause to engage in criminal surveillance with the people of the state, which is exactly what they're doing. And they're doing it under the guise of what is checking in and out of hotel rooms, where the gang stalker, the domestic terrorist, is making money while sharing in the criminal elements of monitoring. And that is what is relevant with regard to stalking using planes and helicopters, and engaging in what is ceaseless psychological torture, like I'm documenting, and not only on podcasts, on documents, the PDFs, and also that's light activity. This light right here, this camera, it's light activity, and also that I'm documenting on video and in images. Okay, this is the obvious open engagement in domestic terrorism by the Ontario Police, and this is what they're going to regret in federal court. This is what Tracy Banks is going to regret in federal court. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is going to regret in federal court. This is what these kidnappers, license KKB99, they're going to regret in federal court. The people that say that I'm documenting, they're going to regret in federal court. The disbanding of the Ontario Police Department, people like C. Hazelwood is going to regret in federal court. He's going to prison. That's the latest kidnapping attempt, him and Owens, where the Ontario police are engaged in surveillance. They're going to federal prison, okay? That attempted kidnapping and unlawful search and seizure pursuant to criminal surveillance, no warrant or probable cause. And they're doing so while keeping my evidence of them targeting me under surveillance as well. That's speaking to unprecedented malice and impunity. And C. Hazelwood and Owens are going to federal prison for gang stalking as a state actor, but also I documented the entity committing what is an attempted kidnapping pursuant to gang stalking me and unlawful search and seizure of my property. All right. This is P.O.C. It's currently 12:35 a.m. This is what the entirety of the Ontario Police Department is going to regret. They're being disbanded, and they're relying on the sex offenders who are the people of the state, okay? This is mental illness exhibit. This is actually stalking with light and stalking as an entity. That's POC. It is currently 12:35 a.m. This is demonic pacing, POC. All right, so I just want you to see this really quick. There's a shadow here, and there's also a shadow on the ground here. And I also have a shadow up here on the wall. This is all engineer light. These are all sex offenders. Check it out. I tell them, oh, there's sex offenders monitoring me. And that's the sex offender the Ontario Police monitoring. And the sex offender LND WAPNER is monitoring while airline planes are flying over me and targeting with ongoing amplified noise. Inside of my hotel room, which is only the entrance of a gang stalking government, that's a sex offender. And economy in, going under the name of the business economy that we call P.O.C. Alrighty, capturing video of the entity gang stalking by commercial planes. As you can hear me, I'm capturing that video. This is the pattern of conduct while I'm inside of my room. The entity, like I documented, and like the entity is corroborating. Like I said, I can't make up the evidence, and the entity is, because the entity is obsessively stalking, they're always providing real-time corroboration of exactly what I am testifying to in my documentation. And not only that, the entity is engaging in what is clearly stalking conduct, based on not only the pattern of conduct as I've shown you, but also based on the inexplicable presence of hovering planes. The level of volume, as you can hear those planes, that's speaking to low elevation, the inexplicable presence, this address, and the time. The entity is engaging in this conduct while they're also engaging in a pattern of stalking me under the fakes. And the body of evidence is the entity that is more obsessed with me and my vagina than making sense of the clear evidence of stalking. But this is a government, like I said, that's full of demons that already know that their time is up. These are full of psychopaths that are literally both hostile, they are unhinged, but they also know based on their condition. These are demon-possessed people who know that they serve Satan. So this is spiritual. So this is also why my documentation is showing what is a concession by the government. While I'm physically prosecuting public corruption, I am spiritually victorious over demons that know that their time is up. And that's also relevant to the obvious engagement in criminal conduct that was supposed to be a conspiracy, that was supposed to be only existing in the imagination of somebody that doesn't have the ability to prove it. And the entity is clearly engaging in a concession after concession, flying for 10 minutes over my head under the fake sun by the Ontario Police, flying in circles in relevant position in the specific environment like I just documented on video right now, doing so while hovering over 2301 South Euclid Avenue. Common sense is speaking to not only, like I stated, the evidence of a pattern of harassment and targeting using commercial planes, which goes directly to the demented mind state of the gang stalker, but also the specific environment where I'm showing you, yes, indeed, in case you were doubting, there's no reasonable doubt that the entity is stalking me as I show you this fake sun over me, where the city of Ontario is always stalking in commercial planes, let alone the obvious deviation from Terminal 2, Terminal 4 business. You're not arriving at or going toward the, you're clearly deviating, meaning you're going in a clear detour while you are flying from some sort of destination to fly south and then east over me, in the engineer light, etc., while the Ontario Police are flying in circles in relevant position, monitoring to that amplified audible activity in engineer light, watching me document and expose them. Remember, all of the knowledge, and while they're stalking, that's all relevant for diagnosis, for prosecution, and a conviction. And this level of concession by demons who know that their time is up, who know that they are spiritually inferior, they've been exposed. There's a lot of spiritual significance behind prosecuting a demon-possessed entity that's supposed to be so capable that they can target you in supernatural ways. You're not supposed to know what's going on. They are totally overpowered with regard to Christ Jesus, okay? This is a concession when you're looking at the weight of the evidence that I have against the government. Okay, and it's again the people of the state as well. Oh, blatantly stalking with impossible light. Understand the people of the state are supposed to be the one that make you look crazy, like you're making up information. They look absolutely psychotic while they're stalking me and keeping their back to me. They look psychotic. You see them for the stalkers that they are. You see them and you also are aware of the sex offenders that they are. You're aware of their obsession with me. You're aware of the mental illness inherent to stalking under a fake son. Who thinks of that? Somebody that's mentally sick and depraved. All right, and then doing so while keeping their back to you, and this person is focused on me, and you already know that, while they're still doing it in the face of that evidence. And why they're doing it? Because they are obsessed with my vagina, because they are obsessed with me, and these are concessions by the demon-possessed who have totally failed in what's supposed to be the most powerful aspect of the pattern of conduct, besides gang stalking in a helicopter, which is the highest threat. The people of the state are supposed to be the mask where you're never supposed to be able to see, because it's supposed to be anonymity, a whole bunch of strangers that are oblivious to your presence. That is highly unpersuasive, and it shows how psychopathic, how mentally sick the entity is that is gang stalking is. And that's going to the national security threat. This is going to the warning that is built in the pattern of conduct. As I'm prosecuting, this is a warning to everyone else, not to instill fear. That is not of Christ Jesus, to instill fear. That's not something that's not of God. That spirit of fear is not of God. But this is something to be aware of. This level of mental instability fills the country. The demon-possessed, more than those who walk with Christ, who are actually sane, who are not psychopaths and closeted psychopaths who have an appetite and a secret desire and are just they're literally ticking time bombs. And when they are given the order by one who you don't know that they listen to, who you don't know whom they serve, which is Satan himself, they are going to engage in that violent act against as many people as possible, or against the most vulnerable that they can fathom, etc., etc. This is relevant to the concession by the demons who are the people of the state, clearly stalking. You don't have to talk to me while you're checking out a hotel room as I walk out. The entity knows that they're fully exposed, and their obsession with me is also exposed. The fact that they're stalking me, and this is what they are doing with their life, it's speaking to the entity that is very mentally deranged, and that's a concession in that. That's what you're witnessing, because there's no reasonable question about what the evidence shows. Okay, so that's what I'm at the point in the evidence, and these are demons that have already conceded. The demon-possessed, Satan himself, already knows that he's defeated, and this is relevant to the lesson regarding what it is that I'm exposing regarding criminal conduct, where Satan is being prosecuted in the physical. All right, and it is for federal group stalking and monitoring, the demonic system of criminal surveillance, which is happening throughout this country, and the inferior demon-possessed entity, these lower-level demons in California, are fully exposed as such, and the concessions that they have made while they are maniacal psychopaths whose mental illness is now going to cost them not only their life, those that are engaging in witchcraft that's not going to touch me, those that are it's going to cost them the rest of their livelihood. It's going to cost them their careers. Their lives will never be the same. And for many, it's going to cost them their freedom. The entities engaging in this, and this is where their mental illness, their service to Satan, is now a liability to themselves. All right, and they are witnessing their own exposure, but they are so sick. Understand, this sickness is relevant to delusion. It's relevant to arrogance, inexplicable arrogance. What are you arrogant about when you lost? What are you competing? What is it? Where is the competition? What are you completing rather? What are you accomplishing right now when the entire system is known? When you know what this end is, and the entity that is delusional, they're delusional toward the end that they also know is very real. And I told it, I documented, I exposed it, I announced it years ago. And the entity that's engaging in that's also relevant to mental illness. That delusion is a threat to other people. Okay, it is currently, again, 12:43 a.m. It's July 27, 2025. And with regard to physical consequences, the Ontario police that are engaging in surveillance, this is putting the gang stalker C. Hazelwood in federal prison. He's gang stalking me on July 14, 2025. That is a criminal act of, a federal offense of criminal summoning by a gang stalking police officer who's engaging in the elements of monitoring. And this demon that's stalking is wearing a police uniform and has no jurisdiction under the law. Everything that he is stating as to why he is there and the authority that he has under the law is literally audible activity under the facts of federal group stalking and monitoring, and he's going to federal prison. I documented his federal offense on June 11, 2025. I documented his federal offense again on July 14, 2025. He's going to federal prison, and so is Owens. They committed an unlawful search of my person. He committed a battery when he's arresting me. He's hurting my arm. I had spots on my arm, bruises, where he is enjoying what is is being overly forceful with me, while he is arresting me, which is an attempted kidnapping, putting me in the vehicle, putting me in handcuffs. This is an assault and battery, while you're gang stalking. All of it is unlawful from the outset. You're engaging in criminal surveillance, like you're seeing on video. That's the Ontario Police Department, and demons by name, who you know in my evidence. C. Hazelwood is also gang stalking. He's going to federal prison. So is Owens. He's going to federal prison. So is L. Edwards. He's going to federal prison. A. Quesada, Alex Escobar, they're going to federal prison. Okay, the entity that I'm documenting, Corey Watson, you see gang stalking under the fake sun at Starbucks at 507 Euclid Avenue. He's kidnapping at the Old Family Community Library on June 16, 2022 under the fake sun. He's going to federal prison. He's going to federal prison. This is the department that's engaging in a massive concession while to their own demise, and you're understanding why. It's not because they're logical. It's not because there's any avenue of success. It's because they are mentally ill at this point, and what is losing the battle, but the battle isn't mine, but losing a wager, a bet that they started. They being the demon possessed, because that's what the Ontario police are. They're a bunch of demons, and they are hiding under the name of a law enforcement agency. I am removing that mask, and I'm going to prosecute, and they're going to be disbanded for the egregious act of repeatedly kidnapping me over and over and over again while I'm documenting them targeting me. And Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, they're going to federal prison. This is why they are still targeting. Understand how the ongoing criminal conduct by the people of the state and the police, this is an awful threat to my life, my liberty. The demons that are paying for the room are gang stalking. It's not less of a threat. This is all relevant to a prosecution, a comprehensive one. And the ones that are wearing uniforms, they're going to prison. The ones that are kidnapping, wearing uniforms with Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. Understand, Jason Isaac Fields committed kidnapping on May 29, 2025 as well. And so did Eric Corey Spencer. He committed kidnapping as an entity as well. So did Shanita Ramaya McLean. She committed kidnapping as an entity as well. So did Anthony Jawan Kennedy, AJ Kennedy. So did anybody else bearing false witness about my character with the intent to steal property from me that belongs to me under a secret conservatorship, where they are monitoring me, targeting me as an entity. What the Ontario Police Department does, the entity does, they're going to federal prison. And so are the ones that I'm documenting in uniform. Okay, it is currently 12:46 a.m. on Sunday, July 27, 2025. This is Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, where Alan D. Wapner's criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct is documented again. This is ceaselessly underway, and Mike Lorenz's criminal engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring, criminal surveillance as a corrupt terrorist agency, not a police department, engaging in what is ongoing unlawful threats as a domestic terrorist. And that is also noted regarding disbanding and regarding federal prison terms for all of the gang stalkers that I have specifically encountered, let alone those that are going to be relieved from law enforcement. Because you're a domestic terrorist, you're not staying in law enforcement. You're not remaining in law enforcement ever. You're not going anywhere in any jurisdiction in the United States to continue in any form of law enforcement. It is over. The entity is getting their kicks in and still gang stalking as a corrupt police department who literally has days left in law enforcement. They will not be going anywhere else. And those that engage in kidnapping are going to federal prison. Any type of kidnapping, like the criminal summoning that licensed KKB 99 engaged in with the Ontario Police Department on September 25th, 2020. Okay, it's P.O.C. again. It's 12:47.
All right, the Spanish-speaking sex offender monitoring in the exact same manner yesterday afternoon. It is currently 10:42 a.m. where she's engaged in terrorism with license 7JXK218. He's stalking under the fake sun that's over this same roof over me, like it was in the afternoon when that demon was monitoring me, uploading information about her, which sex offenders know that are gang stalking you, and engages in what is terrorizing and harassing you by crossing path and you being affected by it in some supernatural manner. That's evidence of her mental illness as well. These are the employees of Economy. And license 9SYE890 was also under that fake sun, gang stalking with minor children. And the entity is also gang stalking as patrons at the venue under the fake sun at 10:42 a.m. License DZ48B36 is a paper plate. I'm going to get these license plates because you know that Simba and the city of Ontario is gang stalking with the rest of these demons staying. And they are doing so while I remain subject to the P.O.C., including right now. So even as I'm checking out, the entity is engaged in what is harassment and monitoring. License 9EKC937, they're all gang stalking with the housekeeper that's engaged in what is sensational activity, rumbling, just like the plane activity. This demon that's pushing a cart outside of the room is creating the same sensational and audible activity. These are demons that are engaging in the same pattern of conduct of stalking in the presence, under a fake sun, and engineered light, which is present day and night, and also on behalf of the state that you saw flying in a circle west of this hotel, the Ontario Police Department. They're unintelligent demons. They're engaging in the same P.O.C. 8EDV437. License plate. Gang stalking in the 45 rooms. And how are the demons monitoring? Walking outside of their hotel rooms to cross path, accessing their vehicles that are covered in engineer light. 8ZBL511 went into room 231 last night, gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. License 9PCY881. I'll get that license plate in a second. The Arizona plate that I documented last night, walking out of room 107, 108. That's a male and a female. License CWDO228. License 9DTM779, 3TBG137. License 9APM637, 8WSC303, L661NO. And the entity that's monitoring with the Ontario Police that flies in circles over me at the hotel, KKB99, gang stalking at MOBIL, 8LQV409, 3UUU144, gang stalking at gas stalls number 4 and 2 to stalk in the path while the population maintains presence and alignment to you. That's DEO7Y05, that's paper. These are stalkers, and this is the prosecution of a business. The fake sun's over me at 2315 South Euclid Avenue at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. License DJJ898, 9JJ898, 8PIM323. This is the fake sun that's over me. It's over me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're stalking. All right, and so is the demon stalking in the path, room number 244, P.O.C. And she's doing the same thing while the Ontario Police is flying in circles at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where this fake sun is still over me, and monitoring now. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. And the demon that is, again, engaging in terrorism while you're walking, while you're pushing a shopping cart. There is nothing that's going to create an earthquake inside of your room. That's called sensational activity. Demons that are monitoring you. The walls and the ceilings and everything rumbling. That's terrorizing means of keeping noise underway. This is how you're being monitored, and it's also relevant to psychological torture by gang stalkers while they're keeping you in engineered light. And this demon is doing so while she's walking by, and she's in this hallway at room 225, that corner, lit up like a Christmas tree while she's gang stalking as a housekeeper. She's a third party, and she's also a gang stalking immigrant. And you'll see the environment under the fake sun. This is the same circumstances where she's gang stalking with her coworker that you see pacing to the dumpster in the afternoon. It's 10 in the morning. This is the same pattern of conduct. These are the employees of the venue, which you already know are gang stalking. That's why they committed kidnapping on September 25th, 2020, while psychopaths are hostile to you, exposing what they want to keep a secret, that they're sex offenders, that they're obsessed with your genitalia, that they're stalking you, okay, with the government. It's currently 10:46 a.m., and everybody just got documented because they're gang stalkers, stalking with the housekeeping. She's in room 222, stalking and doing so. And this is the hallway that was lit up like a Christmas tree yesterday afternoon when she's gang stalking. It's never going to naturally be the case. And never is pushing a cart going to create any sort of earthquakes on the mattress, in the bathroom, under the floor. That's called sensational activity. And she's monitoring with all the demons that are stalking in the hotel rooms while she's targeting me. And the evidence of targeting is the fake sun. Okay, P.O.C. And as I go from place to place, just like you see at Mobil Gas, those are demons going to the extent to fill up a gas tank, to look like they're concerned with filling up their gas tank, to stalk me. That's the information regarding sex offenders, okay, and stalkers. It is currently, again, 10:47 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the entity amplifying plane activity inside of my room. And this is targeting, that is exemplified by what is the hovering nature of this plane, and it's also roaring inside of my room. It's the same audible activity and sensational activity when the demon crosses path with the housekeeping cart. This is the same room where I'm at, where the entity has the fake sun right here at 2 o'clock. Here it is right here, and it's 11:09 a.m. This is the city of Ontario that was gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department last night. They're gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department right now with the employees that are gang stalking at the venue as employees and as patrons. They're doing so under the fake sun, okay? This is evidence of the city of Ontario being a sex offender monitoring my vagina as I've remained here. And this is the criminal conduct of Simba,
the corrupt company that is engaging in targeting with their partner, the City of Ontario. It's relevant to a federal RICO case, and placed me in a hotel room while I've been subject to the sex offense committed by the government and the people of the state. And I've been subject to what is physical violence while the entities engage in things such as a battery, filling my room with secondhand smoke, while they're hostile demons monitoring, harassing and terrorizing with the gang stalkers Alan D. WAPNER is enabling to target me with commercial planes. Those psychopaths, those demons, they're going to be it's relevant to prison. It's relevant to mental asylums, the prosecution of the people of the state, the criminal conduct that Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, in concert with the state of California, have conspired and committed in furtherance of trying to steal property from me while gang stalking me, okay? It is currently, again, 11:10 a.m. The sun is still here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where I documented the Ontario International Airport, where there's no terminals 2 or 4 that's going to reconcile flying south and then east over my room. There's no airport that you're heading to by flying in this direction. You're clearly detouring in order to target, which is filling my room with amplified audible activity. And that same activity is occurring when they're already at a distance away. That's demonic. It's terrorism and it's psychological torture. I'm going to prosecute. That's what you're witnessing. And the gang stalking non-English speaking immigrants who are gang stalking with the government engaging in terrorism, they're going to be deported. It is currently 11:11 a.m. This is P.O.C.
All right, license KKB 99. License 9GTD454. These are the demons that are gang stalking as the corrupt business employees, monitoring with the people of the state that go to their check-in, check-out window to stalk in the path. All right, you'll see the demons coming out of their hotel room. Fake sun is over my head. The fake sun will now be over the staircase on the side of the building where I was staying for the first week as of July 15th in room 242. The fake sun is over the staircase now and not remaining over where it was, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking by commercial planes. This is evidence of very obsessive and psychopathic means of stalking in the path. All right, this is what the demons are doing, walking, and this is what they're doing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the fake sun's over the same staircase. These are demons that are stalking. License 8RTD 699, and this is the corrupt business of Economy Inn. Understand, Economy Inn is representing what the template is for the federal RICO case against every business in California that's engaged in criminal surveillance. Surveillance is built into the business practices of what California entails with regard to making money, profiting, maintaining criminal surveillance online as well, and on communication devices. This is what every business is engaging in, and it's psychopathic, and it's also demonic. It's currently, by the way, 11:28 a.m., and this is what Simba is engaged in with Economy Inn, with the City of Ontario. They list on their website their partner. City of Fontana is a documented gang stalker. City of Ontario is a documented gang stalker. Hi, this is the key room. Excuse me, the key card for 234. That was with Simba, right? They're not renewed. I just want to make sure they didn't pay for another week, did they?
No, checkout is tomorrow.
I thought it was today.
No, it's tomorrow.
7 days would have been today, right? Sunday?
7 days.
Saturday counts as one day, does it not? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's tomorrow? Are you sure? I mean, I'm not going to complain, but are you sure?
Why I should lie?
I don't know why you would lie. I'm not saying you would lie.
Really?
No, I'm not saying you would lie, but the 7th day?
No, it's tomorrow.
So I have until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, that's fine. I pretty much calculated. I'm trying to think. Sunday, that was Sunday. Sunday counts as one day, does it not?
I don't know what you're saying, but checkout is on tomorrow, okay?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, today is a checkout day. They're not checking me out today. They change rooms on Sunday. Okay, thank you. They change rooms on Sunday, and Sunday counts as a day. Saturday would be day 7. Okay, and the entity is engaging what is today would be day 7. This is checkout, and I've stayed at plenty of hotels, including in other countries. It's not just since quitting my job at speaker companies where I was being gang stalked, and that I'm staying in hotels. And it's also not since the entity is engaging in gang stalking me to the point of homelessness, where I have to move away from Tracy Banks, who was targeting me in my apartment in Upland, California. But it is also staying in hotels, which I've done traveling abroad. Okay, so I just want to I'm very well versed in staying in hotels, and the first day counts as one day. Sunday was the new hotel the new hotel room was assigned last Sunday. I documented all that, by the way. I was sitting outside of the hotel room, City of Ontario, the employees, all of them gang stalking, same P.O.C, including the City of Ontario. I went through the whole spiel, legally analyzing how they were giving mysterious reports about, oh, you're recording. Okay, well, who is that? Who am I recording? And how do they know, whoever they are, that I'm recording when I'm not addressing, and they're not addressing me either. And I went through that regarding the admission, because that's what that is. It's an admission to gang stalkers who know what you're doing on your device. That's Title 18 federal stalking. That's an admission. And they're doing that while it's a criminal obstruction of justice is how that's going to be prosecuted. Just because the demons are trying to be diplomatic with me, who has fully surrounded them with evidence, and the entity engages in that and more violent and more poignant methods of threatening you and your safety, including physically harming you, while you try to enforce your rights at all. Okay, so do not be deterred or misled by the ways in which the entity is gang stalking me when they know that they're being documented. And it includes the foolish things. Okay, so it's not obviously, they engage in very foolish things like flying in circles over this hotel at 6 p.m. The demons are gang stalking, walking up the staircase where the fake sun is in the same position at this corner of the building at 6:03 p.m. where I'm capturing video of them gang stalking. This is exactly what I just documented, okay? They're stalking under the fake sun, and at 11 in the morning, 11:27 a.m., it's in the same position it is at 6 o'clock in the evening. There's no question. But what you are not going to be misled by is the ways in which the entity engages in what are diplomatic. And I'm using that term just because I like to be as precise with words in order that you understand what the entity is engaging in. It's albeit criminal, but they might do it with a smile on their face that's not less threatening. It's not disarming. Okay, the entity engages in very obvious criminal conduct that's also obviously threatening, such as stalking with the police department, exhibiting severe mental instability and demon possession by pacing over me, and stalking with impossible light with the people of the state, a bunch of demon-possessed monsters that are engaging in it. And I documented, put it on video, and the fake sun's in the same position it is 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours now from now. That's also threatening conduct as well. So the entity varies on the spectrum with regard to its mental illness, both when they're smiling in your face and also when they are clearly showing and their teeth are dripping with blood, in other words, and you see the monster for exactly what it is. Okay, but I just want to document, I am very well versed in staying in hotels, and the first day counts as day 1. Today is day 7, and for whatever reason, the entity is keeping another day, because that would be another, but I'm not paying for it, the City of Ontario is, and perhaps this is why Simba did not respond to me, because they did not. Okay, and they didn't respond with regard to giving me a ride back to where they picked me up at, and you know where that is, under the fake sun at the Ontario Town Square. And they did not respond to my reaching out to them while I am checking out on this day. They didn't, well, it is Sunday, so the City of Ontario, but with regard to check-in and check-out days, you're talking about they did that on the weekend. They did that regarding what is going to be the weekend's check-in and check-out day, and getting a ride is not going to be limited by that. But nonetheless, I just want to document, today is day 7. Permitting another day to stay here, it's not on my dime. The City of Ontario is paying for my shelter while they're gang stalking me in that shelter. This is relevant to what is malice. It's relevant to, it's not a redeeming quality. The entity is gang stalking while you are a government recipient. Say you get part of your rent paid. I'm not a part of that population. I have not done that. The entity, but under circumstances where you're being gang stalked, it's not going to be a redeeming quality or some sort of defense. We're going to lessen the charges because you're also the same government that's paying a portion of the rent of the target individual, where you're keeping them under surveillance in their home, gang stalking them in furtherance of murder and kidnapping. It's not going to change. The entity is also interested in, again, my documentation, which I've already shown from Economy Inn, where Mercy House is gang stalking in the same way that the City of Ontario is. With Simba, Mercy House, very heavily documented, 2020, 2021. Okay, keeping me under the fake sun at this same hotel, and engaging in what is targeting me, including as I check out. And what does that fake sun do? What does the City of Ontario do? They continue maintaining plane activity, migrating over me in the direction that I'm walking, north of Euclid Avenue, replete with the fake sun, no longer staying over my hotel room from sunrise until sunset. Stalking with that fake sun, showing a whole population of stalkers who are demons as well. Okay, it's not just a scary story. Oh, look at what the people in Ontario are able to do. They have a whole prop in the sky. Oh, no, they're demons. That's how that's happening. These are demons. Okay, and they're engaging in this. It's already documented what they're doing. Different face, different name, different company, same demonic environment, same demonic behavioral pattern. Pacing on foot, walking behind me on the sidewalk, pacing by doing so in a vehicle. That's how they're surrounding right now. Under the fake sun that's in the same position that it is at 6 p.m. And I'll go ahead and capture a screenshot. And the audible activity regarding, oh, it's not checkout day today, and it is with regard to what is the 7th day. The entity is doing so. You hear that door closure? That's the gang stalker, room number 102, stalking with audible noise. I'll show you the engineer light that's also in the shade on the exterior of this building under the fake sun that's over me on the west side of the building, deviating from where it is when it's over my room, like you saw on video where the city of Ontario is gang stalking me with commercial planes. Flying south over the portion of the building where I'm located. Okay, not flying east over Euclid Avenue. And that has nothing to do with arriving and departing from the Ontario International Airport either. It is clear evidence of stalking, targeting by a whole airport, which the entity is doing while they know that they're being exposed. This is all relevant to why I'm given an 8th day today. Okay, they can give a 97th day. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stay here, and that circumstances mandate that you have to accept that. But what the entity is engaged in and what I'm exposed to, I document, because you also are learning that there's no exception. So whether the government is the one that's paying a portion of your rent, that's not an excuse nor any provision of a legitimate basis to keep you under surveillance, okay? And this is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis currently. So I just wanted to document that. That's the employees telling me that it's another day. It's July 27, 2025. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. This is all 45 rooms engaging criminal surveillance together, and it's federal stalking, and this is exposing the mentally ill population. All right, shadows are also behind them. They're monitoring. This is the shadow on this side. This is the shadow on this side. They're gang stalking by remaining in the hotel rooms, which you already know. Engaging kidnapping as an entity. That's why the gang stalking management is going to federal prison. They committed criminal summoning on September 25th, 2020. Okay, not any constitutional right. This is not a private property. And also, you're going to document the entity that's a psychopath stalking you when you're remaining, stalking you in the bathroom, stalking you at adjacent properties, exhibiting mental illness and doing so while they're stalking with light. Okay, what's happening during the day when they're stalking with light? That's the light that's ricocheting into buildings like Starbucks, while the demon-possessed who you see stalking in the adjacent parking lot drive on Euclid Avenue. This is what stalking with light looks like at night in the path, in concert with the demons that are patrolling. Okay, this is P.O.C. I'm going to document the gang stalking demons that are sharing in domestic terrorism and sharing in psychological torture, sharing in the sexual violence inherent in gang stalking, and they're doing so under the name of what is Paul Leon, who's being removed from office, Alan D. WAPNER, who's being removed from office as a domestic terrorist, a sex offender, monitoring my vagina as a public enemy, a corrupt one, sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct, facilitating it, and so is LORENZ as well as GERKEN. The entities engaging in this is the City of Ontario's criminal pattern of conduct that they share together. All right, I want to document this is on video. I'm going to upload this to YouTube and on the Google Drive. This is the entity that's engaging in surveillance in the parking lot. I am surrounded, okay? Never abandoning relevant positioning. Doing so in close proximity, which is what Economy N represents, doing so via aerial surveillance, which is what the City of Ontario maintains, and doing so through around the venue, which is what the 60 freeway. This is an iteration of patrolling, demons that are pacing. This is exposing the positive mental illness of the demon-possessed that are monitoring American citizens in this country. All right, it's P.O.C., that's light activity. In this adjacent parking lot, they're stalking with light. These are demons. That's P.O.C., okay? They're doing so while they're walking underneath on the first floor, stalking with light. And the entity is doing so. Is that an Ontario police vehicle? Because that's the Ontario police that's engaging in what is gang stalking with the people of the state in relevant position to my hotel room as well. All right, and that's an iteration of also criminal summoning. The Ontario police is being disbanded. You saw them gang stalking, flying in circles by helicopter last night. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct as a department-wide of fascination and obsession with my vagina, and also with stalking me from place to place, which is evident through the maintenance of the fake sign over this hotel, where the people of the state are gang stalking by residents for the same duration of time that the fake sign remains. This is the entity gang stalking. No coincidence that the City of Ontario is a relevant position while I'm looking at a demon stalking in the path on behalf of the Ontario Police Department, like I stated. I will document this property just so that you are aware. I'm going to publish the property. This is stalking in the path, multiple shadows, perpendicular shadows, and that's the police gang stalking behind this brick wall right here.
gang stalking with the people of the state. Like I stated, Mike Lorenz's obsession with my vagina is going to be one of the core reasons why he's being removed from law enforcement. He's an exposed sex offender and a domestic terrorist, and stalking is not law enforcement, and gang stalking is also not law enforcement. He's being removed from the ability to gang stalk anybody else. It's currently 9:57 p.m. That is indeed Ontario police that are still gang stalking, just like you saw here, flying in circles. That was at 12 o'clock in the morning, while the Ontario International Airport flew right over my head in what is engineered light. This is a shadow upright. This is a shadow down here, and that's a gang stalker down there. Okay, has tattoos all over his face. Don't be deceived. Gang stalkers that have 2.5 kids, gang stalkers that are married, gang stalkers that are engaging in what is the maintenance of a business, gang stalkers that are male and female, they're sharing in the same criminal pattern of conduct, and that's a psychopath that's monitoring me, asking questions with regard to audible activity with the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C, this is mental illness, and it's an unlawful threat to your safety while they're engaging in this. All monitoring my vagina inside of my hotel room. All 45 rooms are sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct while he's pushing up, holding up a child. Those are the kidnappers from September 25th, 2020, and they're monitoring with the patrons. That's what he represents. Okay, are you talking about me? That's audible activity. All right, the entity is stalking in engineer light. They're not ignorant about who you are and what you're talking about either. That's malice. That's P.O.C. It is currently 9:58 p.m. Alrighty, documenting video. That is Ontario Police. That's on video. Gang stalking, hiding behind that brick wall. They're talking to the people of the state, the same people of the state that are stalking under a fake sun, the same people of the state that are stalking with amplified audible activity. And this is the entity engaging in that through the trailer park, the adjacent property at the brick wall. They are stalking. License 23103U1 is gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department on the opposite side of this brick wall. I captured that on video. So is AEDV 437. So is that Latino male. That is gang stalking, standing in perfect alignment, stalking me, while the Ontario police are on the opposite side of that brick wall, maintaining the elements of monitoring, just like I documented, just like I stated before. Mike Lorenz's gang stalking is proven through what is the presence of the Ontario police in that parking lot, gang stalking in the path. Keeping my vagina under surveillance. Pay attention to what I publish on YouTube. It's all over X. It's posted on the YouTube channel regarding the Ontario Police Department gang stalking at this hotel. The mentally ill, who are the special needs population that are the Ontario police. These are demons who are psychopaths, and it is also not a coincidence, as I published today at 6 p.m. and at 7:20 p.m. the post showing the fake sun over this particular roof of this building, which is the pattern of conduct for 12 hours, 7:15 to 7:16 p.m. And I'm also showing you the evidence of the Ontario police gang stalking me at this venue all day and all night, and you'll see that fake sun. And the entity is, it's not coincidentally that psychopaths who are, again, infuriated and also delusional with regard to it being some sort of challenge. There's no challenge. You're going to prison. All right. This is what L. Edwards is engaging in at the Starbucks at 7:15 in the morning at 507 North Euclid Avenue. While I'm publishing online and the Ontario police are engaged in surveillance, they are engaging in surveillance and harassment, domestic terrorism, and an unlawful threat, while they're gang stalking, as I just documented on video and like I'm narrating right now. And I'm also letting you know about federal stalking and engaging in what is gang stalking me with the motivation of what is more hovering psychopathic behavior, which is also a threat because they're monitoring the evidence that I publish online. And so you have the demons that are the Ontario police on the opposite side of this brick wall, while this demon is stalking in perfect alignment outside of my front door. That's a threat. You're going to prosecute for that. They're being disbanded. But this is everything I want you to be mindful of and cognizant of, while the Ontario police are gang stalking with the people of the state on the opposite side at this RV park. They're engaged in criminal summoning. There's nothing that the people of the state are doing but gang stalking, which they themselves have proven to you. And that's who the entity is supposed to look like. They're concerned in a conversation that doesn't have anything to do with me. That's the psychopathic and delusional engagement in the P.O.C. with a bunch of demons that are obsessed with my vagina. And I posted the evidence of them gang stalking me at Economy Inn, which you'll see on the YouTube post, on the YouTube channel. If you go to the post, you'll see the two posts that is relevant to the ongoing stalking that the Ontario police is doing right now with the people of the state. The same Texas plate, GW08HV. That's a Texas plate. This Latino male with tattoos on his face and on his head is gang stalking me, and everything that he's stating is an unlawful threat, including while exhibiting severe mental illness, as though he doesn't know what I'm talking about. First of all, you're threatening while you're monitoring. And second of all, you're threatening while you're a psychopath, and the criminal conduct is known, and you're doing it with the police department, who are sharing in those criminal elements of monitoring, and you're doing so while you are clearly engaged in the pattern of conduct against somebody that you also know is documenting you. And their knowledge is already proven through the pattern of conduct, through the specific environment. You're going to be prosecuted for that. This is also why the Ontario police is being disbanded, okay? Having convicts and those that are maliciously targeting you, like the people of the state are, is an unlawful threat to your life
and safety and well-being. And this is why Tracy Banks and also the Ontario Police are being disbanded. Everybody committing kidnapping while gang stalking me in the way that the Ontario Police has been for years, and the way that they are now with the gang stalkers who are stalking in this parking lot in real time. The management came out throwing their baby up in the parking lot. That's light activity and stalking in the path, while the Ontario Police are patrolling in relevant positions, stalking with light in the same exact engineered environment, at the same property where the fake sun sits over me for 12 hours, and doing so as I published 2 posts exposing the demon possession and criminal surveillance conduct pursuant to repeated kidnappings, while they're demons that acted with the government trying to steal property from me by relying on the criminal activity of the Ontario Police. That's what is informing their stalking conduct right now. That's amplified noise. While the Ontario Police are on the opposite side of this brick wall, they're going to be disbanded, and C. Hazelwood's going to federal prison, and so is Owens. So is Nathan Morgan. So is B. Hook. As clearly as you hear that amplified noise and engineered light, and these demons that are stalking, they're surrounded with evidence. None of this is a natural environment. Everything that you hear is demonic. Everything that you see, which I show you, is demonic, while demons are stalking. And because they're stalking and kidnapping, the Ontario Police is being disbanded. And they're currently stalking right now in a psychopathic manner, stalking right in front of my front door, which is an unlawful threat by somebody who knows exactly what you're doing. That's also why they're being disbanded, and they're doing it because of what I published on YouTube today. And then I also shared it on X, okay? And I want to be clear, the feds are also watching. You're going to federal prison, everybody that engaged in kidnapping. License 9SYE890, gang stalking with minor kids. License DZ48B36, and there's no difference between the gang stalkers that have tattoos on their face and all over their head, and those that are gang stalking while holding the hands of children. 6EUZ999, you're the one that creates that illusion in your mind. These are demons all the like. They're all in the same exact environment. They're all engaged in the same demonic behavioral pattern, and they're all sex offenders monitoring my vagina in the same exact manner. 8TRU813, 9SSF936. Ontario Police is on the opposite side of this brick wall, and the same demon that you see gang stalking by stalking in the middle of the parking lot, the employee that likes to go take out the trash at the moment I'm opening the door, that's stalking in perfect alignment. That's what the African-American female was doing on video as I documented the fake sun. That's what the demons are doing with the vehicles in the middle of the parking lot. They're pacing all around in engineer light. This is how you're monitoring, all right? And they're doing so while they are obsessively stalking me, surrounding. Demons trying to calmly appear like they're not doing anything. What they're doing is trying to keep me surrounded, all right? And they are obsessively and diligently engaging in that, including while the business of Economy Inn is making money off of gang stalking. That's the federal RICO case. While these fools of the Ontario Police continuously add to that federal RICO case in time in prison for gang stalking police officers and gang stalkers that committed kidnapping like they did on September 25th, 2020. 9SJS179, the same Arizona plate, CWDO228, 5FIL192, CYO2T20, that's a paper plate. 3TBG137, same Maxima. 9DTM779, that's the same Chevy. It's the same big body vehicle, SUV, 7KFC910. And the parking lot that I'm standing in, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shadows, okay? So Ontario Police are stalking. A demon that's stalking in the parking lot closes their car door as I reach in my pocket. That's monitoring. They're all sitting around stalking. And that sex offender, that stalker, was standing in perfect alignment with my person at the door of my hotel in the engineered environment. That's a stalker. A demon-possessed one that obsesses and salivates and masturbates and engages in sex rituals regarding my genitalia. Okay, license WLZ2831, and they share that with the Ontario Police. Demons stalking in helicopters. Okay, license plate, Title 18, 8 CEC 326. Title 18, federal stalking while they're driving and walking and present in the environment. It's all federal stalking surveillance. EE94Z99 paper, KKB99. That's the employee. 9GTD454, that's the employee. And they're all gang stalking with the patrons. They're all gang stalking with the demons at MOBIL. MOBIL permitting trespassers because the trespassers are gang stalking along with MOBIL, the establishment, and MOBIL, the employees who are engaging in that pattern of conduct. The entity is gang stalking with Economy Inn, yes, but with the demons of the Ontario Police that I captured on video in the adjacent parking lot. There are no consequences here. This is the Ontario Police that are full of intellectually inferior and wildly corrupt and desperate sex offending stalkers, and they're all demon possessed, every single, from Mike Lorenz down. You want to refer to a demon as a chief of police? That's a deceptive and false term. He's a demon and he's a stalker. He's a domestic terrorist. He's gang stalking with every other petty thief that has no training, no education, no job, no place to live. Okay, you're talking about what is creating some sort of self-made hierarchy amongst themselves. These are demons that are engaging in criminal conduct. And Mike Lorenz is losing his position for it. The entity is engaging in this, and this is the P.O.C. that's underway with a noted level of impunity and malice and lawlessness. And the economy in all 45 rooms is a means of the federal RICO case, keeping me under surveillance at this hotel, which is why the fake sun is here for 12 hours in the day. And it's, other words, very obvious what the Ontario police are doing on the opposite side of this brick wall, incriminating that a whole property that didn't need the police to be there for everybody in that RV park to catch a case. But the Ontario Police Department is always incriminating everybody. And the people of the state are also incriminating because of the high level of documentation of these demons stalking me obsessively. It is currently 10:07 p.m. This is P.O.C. The Ontario police that are gang stalking are the same ones that committed kidnapping with the people of the state on September 25th, 2020. The exact same department, the exact same criminal pattern of conduct, the exact same obsession, the exact same entity that's engaging in what is stalking and surveillance, not law enforcement. And it's obstruction of justice while they committed kidnapping pursuant to a fake warrant in a non-existent case, because that was the guise under which that they committed an arrest, even though the police were supposedly called when you're not even breaking any law. Because standing in the parking lot just like I was right now, while they're all standing in the parking lot, in the middle of the parking lot, not addressing you, but then engaging what is summoning the police because what, you're documenting and holding your phone? Okay, that's on the surface level. They're engaging in summoning the police that commit a kidnapping on September 25th pursuant to an entirely fake case. There's no warrant in a case that was never actually filed. Okay, and it wasn't actually filed because the DA, F. Ramos, doesn't even exist on the California bar site. And this information is already published with regard to that time in history because the entity is corrupt and makes up information, especially as now it's monitoring my evidence to prosecute them, but they're already surrounded. They're not getting out of that. And by the way, even if there is an actual, which the entity has before, brought what's referred to upon federal group stalking monitor, you don't have jurisdiction. So it's a court committing a criminal act, a federal offense pursuant to criminal surveillance, even where there is a DA, and they bring manufactured charges while they're keeping you under surveillance, and then engaging what is exchanging hands, kidnapping amongst the sheriff and amongst the court, where they're gang stalking even at those venues, and you are never exercising any legitimate authority where the police are stalking and engaging in surveillance with demons like Tracy Banks. You're going to federal prison. Either way you want to look at that, either way you want to flip it, we can analyze it in two different ways like I just did what they've done, an entirely fictitious prosecution based on the exercise of fictitious authority while you're gang stalking, and it's also fictitious prosecution because it wasn't even actually a filed case behind the fictitious name of a DA of F. Ramos who does not exist. Okay, so when I'm doing my research on this fake case, this is the evidence that I have. But again, the entity that's corrupt, the government that you have to prosecute and investigate yourself. This is why the people of the state and the entity that's going to prison for kidnapping, this is why they're going to prison for so long. I was kidnapped pursuant to that fake case back in 2020. It's been 5 years. Jason Isaac Fields is not avoiding federal prison. And I want to be clear, just because I'm not in a facility right now, when you're being gang stalked, you're living in a bubble. The stalkers, just like the Ontario police and the people of the state show, are stalking you. You're living in a bubble. You're going to federal prison. The entity engaged in the unheard of and absolutely intolerable federal offense of kidnapping on top of the fact you're already stalking as a government, a bunch of demons at that. And then you engaged in kidnapping? Oh, because you don't want to be documented. You think that you're going to stop justice. You think you're just going to stop that. You're just going to make that just disappear and just throw the target individual in jail or in a mental ward, and you make up then mental illness. You're going to federal prison, okay? And this is while the entity is maintaining secret court hearings about property that was never disclosed to me. You know the whole truth regarding the history and the motive regarding what is incentivizing these demons targeting me, besides the fact that I walk with Christ Jesus and these demons can smell it on you. They serve Satan, okay? These are demons, but these are also criminals because I'm going to prosecute the Ontario police. They're going to be disbanded, not because they're demons, but because they're stalking me. That's why. Relevant context is that their pattern of conduct, their criminal, the proof of them stalking is also how you know the evidence of their being demon possessed. Their mental illness then, and their sexual perversion. They're predators. They're sex offenders. Those are the ones that worship my vagina that I was just explaining about. The Ontario police that you see stalking on the opposite side of this brick wall, those are the ones worshiping my vagina. The ones that you saw at 12 o'clock in the morning, pacing in a circle at 12 o'clock in the morning, those are the ones worshiping my vagina. And how do they hide the fact that they worship my vagina? By holding on, clutching their whatever race their wife is. Whoever it is that they go home with, that's how they're hiding the fact that they're worshiping this black woman's vagina. And that's the truth. They're gang stalking. They're worshiping. It's idolatry, and it's also criminal because the government has the legitimate interest in keeping an American citizen under surveillance, and they also engaged in this because they thought they were going to get away with it and steal my property in doing so. They're going to be disbanded. Alternatively, this is what's going to happen, and the entity is also going to be subject to mental examinations. This is inherent to a criminal pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. You will be subject to what are mental examinations, diagnoses based on the evidence exhibiting mental illness. Okay, you want to stalk somebody and keep your back to them while you're engaging in the P.O.C. There's no mystery. They know exactly what they're looking at. And you're going to be analyzed. You're going to be subject to mental examinations. You want to pace around like a psychopath. You want to sit around and act like you're concerned about a conversation, like you're doing something over here to the left and the right. What the entity sought to engage in that's supposed to result in the target individual being falsely depicted as imagining things, that same evidence, that same behavior is what's going to be used to put them in facilities, mental asylums. It's going to have them in straitjackets. It's going to have them subject to a battery of tests regarding their severe mental illness, which causes them to want to target other people inexplicably for no reason, deriving pleasure from it, and doing so obsessively. Okay? It's not. The entity is going to be prosecuted and diagnosed. Criminal summoning is a well-documented pattern of conduct by corrupt law enforcement agencies. The entity is engaging in this in Monrovia, California, where I'm remaining in Monrovia in July of 2024. I'm still remaining at the Town Place Suites by Monrovia on July 27, 2025. I'm showing you the fake sign outside of my hotel room window. That which is on Huntington. At Myrtle and Huntington in Monrovia is not over Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue on the same day, at the same time, at any point in the day. If it's rising here and I'm seeing it setting here, where the Ontario police are exhibiting mental illness by what you understand now is pacing, and what you know is not sunlight but engineer light, under what you know and whatever even a fifth grader knows could not possibly be the natural environment, such as the sun being over the same building that it was in 7 in the morning, that's where the entity is gang stalking, just like the Monrovia Police Department is in Monrovia, California, like I'm documenting in 2024, okay? This is relevant to the federal RICO case against the state of California. The Ontario police are not only a bunch of criminals and demons and sex offenders that cannot hide their obsession with this black woman's vagina. They are severely delusional with regard to how severe they are going to be made an example of on the national scene because of what they committed, and because it is going to be the job of the federal government to make sure that domestic terrorists throughout this country recognize that it's not going to be tolerated under any circumstances. Just like terrorism from another country, we're quick to bind hands together against outsiders or what we deem to be foreigners or whatever. But those that are in this country, I want to be clear, it's un-American to engage in gang stalking. And it's not law enforcement to engage in gang stalking. It's stalking. It's terrorism. It's freaky, weird sexual perversion. It's demonic. It's criminal. Okay, it is of Satan. Engaging in gang stalking is the taboo, and it is not to be confused with law enforcement. And the demon possessed that can't handle that exposure, what do those demons do that sit around worshiping me all day? Now they're pacing all around, relying on the demons at Economy and to pace all around and stalk with them while they're on the opposite side, getting as close to me as they possibly can. That's what that is. Getting as close to me as they possibly can without possibly being identified, even though on another day, another demon that doesn't have any control and doesn't have any foresight about how that's going to damn everything else that is already complete with regard to a prosecution will fly for 10 minutes straight on video under a fake sun and an engineer light. Okay, when I have them on video stalking, which you know it's stalking because the fake sun is still there, 12 hours, the same fake sun over the same address, the police are stalking. It's surveillance. That's exactly what they provided against the co-defendant, the people of the state. By the way, management shared criminal engagement in the elements of monitoring. Walking out into the parking lot, you're already gang stalking by being on the property. They went out of their way to go into the parking lot and throw their baby up in the air, up and down, monitoring me and doing so. Every detail is relevant to the way that gang stalking, especially gang stalking immigrants, are going to be treated under federal law. You're going to be also deported, and no one's going to bat an eye about it. All right, the entity is engaging in that, and that's relevant to also be cognizant about what I'm publishing. Always be cognizant about what I'm talking about. What am I doing? This is why I pointed out to you, because the entity is monitoring me. The entity is monitoring also what it is that I am documenting and publishing. Those are the psychopaths that are triggered by what I am exposing about them and how I just speak the truth about them. If you're monitoring my vagina, that's exactly what's going to be exposed about you. I am not the one that you want to offend sexually because I'm going to embarrass you. That's not my shame to hold on to. I'm going to embarrass you. Okay, the entities engaging in the P.O.C. and the P.O.C. includes sexual violence, and this is sexual violence practiced as a police department. And those demons went out of their way to get as close to me as possible by pacing all around at the RV, the adjacent RV park, where they're engaged in what is criminal summoning. Okay, they have to rely on gang stalking by the people of the state to be present and state that they are engaged in some sort of execution of their duties as officers, and that's also why they're going to be disbanded. That's an unlawful threat. It's facilitating domestic terrorism, and you have terrorism that is literally being enabled through corrupt police departments who are going to be removed from the ability to do so. When you're engaged in kidnapping, that's the line. If you, it's just like gang stalking immigrants, that's the line. If you thought that you belong here and there's nothing, that's the line, and it doesn't matter how many decades you've been here, that citizenship will be revoked. Okay, it's currently 10:17 p.m. This is the P.O.C. and the video that I'm going to upload, it's directly relevant to the threat that the Ontario police are posing, just like I stated, just like I narrated, and who's on the opposite side of that brick wall? The Ontario Police Department. Okay, that's the Ontario police that are being disbanded. That's the Ontario police that at this same property on September 25th, 2020. Not only was it a fake case, but they were gang stalking me. Police departments that are engaging in the pattern of conduct that are monitoring, targeting American citizens, they do so pursuant to criminal summoning. That is, under the malicious guise of appearing to be present, of course, based upon something that's going to be necessarily related to their duties. Oh, we're here because we need to protect somebody summoned us here. There's some crime underway, okay? Reasonable suspicion, probable cause. These are fictions upon the pattern of conduct. You don't have any of that. You're stalking, and you're stalking with the people. And I have proven to you, you've seen in the evidence, the demon-possessed population, they're gang stalking. I showed you the case against every aspect of this pattern of conduct. The people of the state are demons who are gang stalking. The government is acting vicariously, in other words, and the government itself gang stalking, acting in the same exact specific environment pursuant to the same behavioral patterns, which are a threat to the national security. They're a threat to the public. And they're gang stalking, as I show you the entity gang stalking directly. Okay, that's the entity that's engaging in criminal summoning together. This is what Tracy Banks is engaging in. And remember, Tracy Banks is just the demon-possessed third party inside of her apartment at Woodside on May 29, 2025. Tracy Banks is engaged in criminal summoning as an entity. All right, so in other words, when you want to understand how the prosecution is going to go, Economy Inn, the people of the state have committed multiple kidnappings. They kidnapped me at Economy Inn on September 25th, 2020. They're going to federal prison for the multiple kidnappings that they committed before September 25th, 2020, and they committed the latest being the attempted kidnapping on July 15th, 2025 by Hazelwood and Owens. C. Hazelwood and Owens, who are both going to federal prison. Both of them, for stalking me and threatening my life and safety and well-being and psychologically torturing me and then calling yourselves police departments while you are engaged in gang stalking. That's a psychopath that also knows that you're documenting them and then standing in a uniform, a costume, as though you have authority under the law. That sort of malice, that sort of exercise of fictitious authority, that sort of corruption, when you're gang stalking, you're going to prison. You are going to prison. Gang stalking police officers are going to be subject to mental examinations. And if you think you're safe in this country because you're an immigrant that joined law enforcement, think again. You're going to be deported. And by the way, you're not welcome. You are not welcome. All right? I just want to be clear. This is how you are prosecuting any conspiracy. And federal group stalking and monitoring is a product of a conspiracy to murder and kidnap an American citizen through the corrupt practices of a government in reliance on its co-defendant, the people of the state. Okay? The people of the state are the ones that are keeping you under surveillance vicariously where you live, when you're traveling, when there's nobody, no government actors directly engaging in the elements of monitoring right in your face inside of the Starbucks. And when they do enter in, like I document at Starbucks, they're directly engaging in the pattern of conduct. And remember, everything is exacerbated with regard to federal repercussions because I'm documenting and these demons are monitoring the documentation. You have the audacity as a terrorist in the United States to engage in terrorism with this level of boldness. This is going to be addressed under federal law. It's going to be addressed in a federal prosecution. Like I said, delusional psychopaths engage in more harm, stalking more heavily. As I document, I put the post on YouTube. Also, the demons want to get as close to me if they're pacing all around in the parking lot on the opposite side of the brick wall. Ontario police stalking the entire time. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is more violence, more threatening behavior, more psychopathic behavior while you are enforcing your rights. The audacity of you to try to speak up for yourself. The audacity of you to call it wrong or to call it according to what it is. Call the thing a thing, okay? That's a psychopath. That's the animus behind the demon-possessed gang stalker. You need to understand the behavior is what is provoked by what is the mind. The mind is sick. These are demon-possessed people, and it is to be addressed as mental illness in courts. And that was a whole sex offender stalking in perfect alignment with my door, stalking with the Ontario police on the opposite side of that brick wall, and this demon feels like he's impervious to being caught, being prosecuted. The Ontario police are being disbanded. Gang stalking police officers are going to federal prison. That's an oxymoron. And that demon that's gang stalking with the police, you throw them into prison. That's going to disincentivize and break this illusion like nothing's going to happen because I have the police gang stalker. This false sense of where is this audacity come from? Where's this impunity come from? You're going to attack that very source, right? That's what you're going for. That's what gets you decades in federal prison. That's what gets you deported. You're not coming back. That's what gets you that criminal record as a terrorist, as a sex offender. You will never be able to work around kids. You'll never have a weapon, a firearm. You'll never be able to work around the public where you pose a threat to it's going to permanently change your life. And I guarantee you that attitude, that's going to change. Okay, but right now this delusion of getting beyond the law, and that doesn't even make any sense, the level of evidence. But you're not dealing with rational people. You're dealing with unstable people who are demon possessed. This is literally mental illness. Okay, the evidence shows that I am no common adversary. Okay, even though I didn't choose to be an adversary. You started targeting me, and I'm going to enforce my rights. I'm going to prosecute you, and I'm going to expose you. It's necessary to expose the darkness, and it's also important, I find, to embarrass them in doing so. I will shame you. I will humiliate you and anybody that's associated to you. Okay, so I just want to be clear because you're dealing with Satan. That's called disincentivizing criminal conduct, and it's relevant to this delusion. There's an air of delusion here. They've engaged in killing one too many people. They've engaged in getting away with stealing from one too many people. They've engaged in getting away with framing one too many people. They've engaged in getting away with hurting one too many people. They've engaged in getting away with ruining the lives of one too many people. They've engaged in getting away with kidnapping one too many people. There is a remedy for that. Okay, and if it includes federal prison for it's only 45 rooms here, federal prison for everybody that I'm documenting systematically. Justice does not, under any circumstances, remove that at all. It's only the entity that thinks, oh, there's so many of us, you can't. That's the same demon that's still gang stalking me on video, 10 minutes straight, flying in circles under the fake sun, doing it today. Going to be very sorely regretful of it tomorrow. And not just that gang stalking department, but the state of California. They're establishing a template to their own demise. And they are a very distinct population. They are the domestic terrorists who are spiritually lost. They are the demon-possessed, which is a very real condition, and it directly impacts the mind. It directly impacts the behavior. Okay, so this is speaking to what is a threat to people and themselves. Your gang stalking, no, they don't like themselves. I don't care how much they work out. I don't care how buff they look in their uniform wearing that badge. They can't stand themselves. They hate themselves, and they're unhappy with the way that their lives is. That's why you're stalking me all night long sitting in that police vehicle. Okay, that's why you're triggered when I post information about the department. That's why you're pacing all around when you should have something else to do. All right, but that's why they're being disbanded. The criminal misuse of resources on criminal activity, it does not get any more. I mean, the hypocrisy is just like epic, and it's unfortunate. Okay, so it does need to be studied and looked into and examined and reported. How many people have suffered at the hands of the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state and the city of Ontario because they are corrupt. All right, and that corrupt machine, it works together, hand in hand. The people of the state and the gang stalking city of Ontario, which the Mike Lorenz's corrupt operation, and remember, it was Derek Williams before him. This is not a coincidence that Mike Lorenz is the only bankrupt and corrupt demon that's obsessed with my genitalia. Derek Williams before him, and the demon before that, the entity has been gang stalking. Paul Leon's been in office for 20 years, and 20 years too long, by the way. This is also speaking to why the laws need to change. No mayor should be in office, especially where the state's engaged in targeting. This changes the landscape of everything. It really does. Surveillance, criminal surveillance, targeting Americans, this changes everything. It changes everything. But Paul Leon personally, and Paul Leon as a principal, should not be in office 20 years. Okay, so there's a lot that's going to change in Ontario, and it's going to start with the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. It's currently 10:26 p.m. This is P.O.C. When you're looking at this impunity, this stalker, this sex offender outside of my hotel room, you are looking at what is the evidence disbanding the Ontario Police Department.